Hey everybody, Jimmy with the Triple C Collective here for another Superhero Saturday. Today we're going to be diving into Miss Marvel, episode 5, Time and Again. This episode was really good. I felt that this episode was a little bit shorter. It could have been about 10 minutes longer than what it actually was. But either way, it was still a really good episode. I really liked it. I've been thoroughly enjoying Miss Marvel beginning to end, cover to cover, if you will. This entire series has just been really great. So let's dive in. This episode opens in basically 1947. It is after partition, and it's kind of like a British video explaining what's happening, basically, and what's going on in the world. And it seems like it would be one of those old videos you would watch in school, basically, almost, being like, hey, this is what happened and everything. Doing that whole kind of thing, that whole dog and pony show, if you will. But like, it was really cool. That's the point of this, but it was really cool to see in the episode, in the fact that that it used a really great I just like seeing, like, I don't know, old school stuff like that, like stuff from like the 40s, like being depicted now and whatnot, like because they actually use the square box, like completely center of your TV, if you have any kind of like widescreen TV or whatever. If it, I don't know, 40 inches or bigger, you would have seen it like very clearly. If you have a smaller TV, maybe not. But I like that. I like on how they also used a lot of like the spinning disc, basically, of an image, which was something that like in 1947 was relatively pretty new, right around there. I don't necessarily know if it was out in 1947, but like that effect, if you will, in filmmaking was like developed right then in like the late 30s to the 40s. So very easily could have been established. I know it's somewhere in that timeline, or that time frame. I don't know exactly though. But like, so seeing that, hearing like that classic like narrator voiceover and stuff over it. But we do get some information of like, even if you, like me, who didn't really know anything about like the partition or anything like that, really, like you get to see like the different borders and stuff, like of at the time of 1947, of what was going on there. And then you get a bunch of different of like the spinning headlines and stuff of like, hey, this is happening, hey, riots are happening, there's blood on the borders and all of this. Like, it gives you the best thing about this opening, like opening the episode like this, is that it gives you, it's a great way to get through a lot of exposition without dedicating a lot of time to it. Because really it sets up like the whole kind of thing right here. And then what we get is, at the end of this video, it's like we got to take you back to this moment in time when this all started. And then we get an all black title card, and it says 1942. Then we see Aisha being like chased, by some like big burly lumberjack looking dude, being like chased through a forest and everything like that, and it's like stop, and, yelling, screaming, whatever, running from each other, and eventually Aisha kills him, like throws like two daggers or whatever at him, and gets him, doom doom, knocks him out, and kills him. Then she is like kind of making her way into like a village or like a marketplace, basically. Very literally, you have a man standing on a box, standing on his soapbox, if you will, like giving his speech to the people, like saying that we're not gonna go. Like they want peace. We want peace as well, but like we're not going to just give up our stuff without a fight. Like we're gonna fight for what we believe in and for ourselves and all of that, and like kind of working all of the people up. and it like it's a great impassioned speech. It's awesome. It was really excellent. It was really excellent to see. The whole thing is, God, did the subtitle say? Um, he is speaking his native Pakistani dialect. I don't remember if it said if it was Yurdi or not. But either way, he is giving it his all, and like it catches the attention of Aisha, and of course we end up finding out to be that this man who is up there eventually comes to be known as Kamala's great grandfather. Um, but as he's talking, as Aisha is making her way through the market, looking at what he's saying, and everyone's like clapping and like getting riled up with him, the British soldiers show up, and then they kind of break up the whole crowd and everything like that. He gives, he's not necessarily trying to beat the British soldiers over with like his walking stick or anything, but he puts up a little fight of like trying to like stand his ground and be there and everything like that. And but eventually everyone disperses, they all move on their way. We get this then what happened here? We get then Aisha and Asan being together, basically. All of we get to see the development of their relationship basically here, and this is really great. This part like really moves quickly in the episode. Like the first time, and even watching it again from my notes, like it like the note watching for it, it was just like sucking me in. I was just so enthralled to finally kind of get a little bit of background about Kamala's like her heritage, and like where these powers of the Nor Light and everything like come from, and what is this story with like her Nani being saved by the traveling stars or whatever it is. And like there's all kinds of like weird stuff in here that like is interesting, and it gets explored here, or at least for me a lot of it got explored here, and it was really great. It was really awesome. This episode was really great. We get Aisha, she's asleep, Hassan pokes her, wakes her up, and like she grabs the stick, she's like, I'll break your leg. And he laughs because like as we saw earlier, he's walking with a limp, like he has a bum leg, knee, like something happened to him that he walks with a limp, and he needs the walking stick to help help keep him stable. And so like he just like laughs at that, and it's really funny because he's like, what, this leg? It's all right, sure, whatever. like it's just really funny. It was really awesome. um and he then offers Aisha a place to stay in the cottage and some food, and she's like, no, like very like rudely and like very quickly and abruptly is like, no. And he's like, oh, okay. And then the dude just like turns around and like starts walking away, and she's like, no, no, thank you. And he's like, okay, well, like again, you're more than welcome to come in, even if you don't want to eat. Like you're more than welcome to stay in there, and it's better than you laying in my roses, because I like my roses and whatnot. Basically. And so they're inside, sitting down, he's sitting down, Aisha's standing like at the doorway with her back to the door, like just kind of staring at him. And there's a plate of Parthra for her, and he's like, nobody can resist like freshly cooked Parthra. And so she like sits down, like she does move in, and like sits down and starts eating. And he just is asking her basic questions like, hey, what's your name, where are you from, What are you doing here? And she's stone cold. Like, she's eating, but she's not even looking up, barely acknowledging that he is speaking to her at all. And he's like, he kind of just like cuts to the chase a little bit, and it's like, hey, I get it. You're not British. I know you're not a member of this like village. So for real, what brings you here? And she's like, I like your roses. And, and this is great. He's like, she speaks. Okay. Um, and then he asks like, "What's your favorite?" And he ends up kind of like doing the thing that all kind of like nervous people do when they're around somebody that they're just like nervous about. There could be an attraction or any number of things that would make them nervous. But like he kind of just gets the motor mouth running, and he doesn't really let her answer at all. And he's like, you know what, this reminds me of my favorite poem. And like he recites the poem to her, and we get at the end of the poem of the what you seek is seeking you. And then Aisha and Hassan, they exchange their names finally. You know, like, hey, I'm so and so, and I'm so and so. You know, nice to meet you. We get a jump in time now, and this jump in time brings us to Aisha walking out. The flowers are looking good. They're looking tall and like full, I guess. Maybe ready to bloom. I'm not into. I don't know much about plants or anything like that, so I'm not entirely sure what it is. But they looked a lot better than like what she was laying in at the start of the episode when he first invites her in and everything. So we see a jump in time, but it's got to be 9 months to a year later, because at one point like we get a little pullback from Aisha and Hassan, and he puts his hand on her belly, and it's a clear indication that she's pregnant. She's with child. We find out that it's obviously Sana, and or Kamala's Nani, and so we see her birth, and then we don't see her like come out of Aisha. We see just the baby in like a little maybe bassinet crib type thing. Just kind of like in clothes, and they're like, oh, goo goo gaga, doing the whole thing that you do with little babies. And we see that, but Aisha also gives Hassan a brand new walking stick, like an actual cane, instead of just like literally a stick off the ground. Basically, it seems it's like kind of how she indicates of like what he was using previously. And she was just like, you need something different or whatever. So she gets him the new walking stick. They have the baby. It's born. We jump to a now like young Sana. We're looking at, she's got to be about 5 or 6, like probably right around the time the whole train and everything is leaving, like that whole scenario and story comes about. We see something here that you don't really notice, but after we see the young Sana, we get another like cut, and it's the family hanging out, and the father looks a little bit more disheveled than he normally does. And the issue that it turns out to be is like this impending partition, and the fact that he is of Muslim faith, and nobody will buy from him or sell milk to his wife or anything like that because of that, because of his Muslim beliefs. And that's just like, whoa. These were the same people that were like happily working with him and like trading with him. Like we only saw like 9 months, even a couple of years previous to like where we're at now. So like seeing this, that's a major change. That's a major like change in etiquette, thought process, and everything to there. And it's like really sad because like he kind of lashes out at his neighbor who drops off who's just being a good neighbor and drops off like supplies for them. And he's like, tell him to take the charity. Like Hassan tells Aisha to tell him to take the charity away. The guy's dropping off the groceries. Is like, you're playing right into their hand, like right into the British's hand. They want this from us of like what you're doing here. Like, let me help you. Like, let me help you the way that I can or that I know how to. Because if we don't help each other and if we don't like work together, we're gonna lose to the British and everything like that is like what they're saying. We're gonna lose everything, or what they're implying, I should say here, is that you're playing right into the British's hands of how they want to have things go, that infighting and whatnot. So it's interesting. We once that neighbor drops off the stuff and leaves, before Aisha closes the door, Aisha sees Najma out over by a tree. Najma has finally found Aisha. Najma wants to go home, and that's the conversation that they have. Najma's like, hey, we finally found you. That's great. It looks like you got a nice little thing here. Aisha's like, I need to find the bangle. Like, I kept that, I hid that. I kept that, like, hidden away from me and, like, where I am now, so that, like, you got to give me some time to find it. And Najma was like, cool. You have until sundown tomorrow. And Aisha's like, what? Oh, okay. Sure. They go their separate ways. And then, yeah, they go their separate ways. And once they go their separate ways, we get back into the house, but it's like the next morning or the next day or something. And Aisha's like, we gotta go. They're burning homes. It's unsafe. She repeats, what you seek is seeking you. We can take our memories with us, because Hassan's like, what about the house that my father built? What am I gonna leave for, like, our daughter? What are we gonna do here? How does this work? How does this happen now? Like, with all of this, like, what are we gonna do? And Aisha's just like, it doesn't matter. We can take it all. We can take all of our memories and stuff with us. We can leave the house here and let's go. We need to go, because what Aisha isn't doing is that she's not being completely honest about Najma, who she saw, or really the magical things that Aisha is able to do. And once we get to the trains, this is awesome. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe, like, we're actually seeing this. I thought, like, we were just gonna see, like, the little bit that we saw with Kamala at the end of last episode, where she just kind of climbs up onto the top of the train and, like, kind of looks around and is, like, trying to find stuff and everything. So it was interesting seeing all of that. But once we get to the trains, we have Aisha, Hassan, and Sana, sorry. There's huge lines of people. Like, it's the exact same thing again, like how we saw with Kamala and, like, her scene, and, like, virtually the same train station and everything. It's packed with people. Trains are packed with people. It's bumper to bumper, it is just everybody smashed into all these different trains, trying to go to all these different places, trying to get out of, like, where they currently are. And it was insane. It was wild. I didn't know anything like that. Like, this was a good visual to see, because I had no way of picturing, like, kind of what they were talking about, or, like, kind of visualizing, like, how many people were all trying to, like, exit at once. You only see that kind of stuff usually in, like, natural disaster movies and things like that, like everyone leaving one way and then the whole other side of the road is, like, completely bare because nobody's trying to get in, everybody's trying to leave or whatever. And so like we get a good little bit of that. Like here we walk through like just the like sidewalk kind of platform portions. We get a little bit inside the trains and everything like that. It's really great. But Aisha, like once we get to the train station and everyone's like kind of there, Aisha is moving super fast. She is like running basically excuse me, she's running. Her husband can't keep up, and he says so much. He's like, I can't keep up. What's going on? What aren't you telling me? Who was that woman last night? And Aisha's like, I gotta show you something. And she shows the basically her Noor light power, that she's a jinn. And it's like, you know how you always said I was magic? Well, you never asked about it or anything. You never pushed it or anything, but I am. And he's like, why tell me now? And he's like, and she's like, you never pushed it? He's like, I didn't care. You know, you chose me. Like, you chose us. That's like what mattered. That's like what was important to me, is that you chose to like be with me and Sana now and all that. Like, you chose us here. Like, that's all I really cared about and stuff. It's really beautiful stuff. It's really, really beautiful stuff. And it is so, it's very honest, it's very earnest. And like the performance here is just great. Their performances here every step of the way have been awesome. Everybody, top to bottom, everyone involved here has been just a real delight to be watching, and to be watching and learning about and interacting with and hanging out with. Like, it's been really great. But so Aisha's like, you never did that, and he's like, I didn't care. Make sure Sana's on that train. Promise me, nothing is going to happen. And he's like, okay, yeah, I will get her on that train. Nothing is going to happen. It looks like Sana loses a bonnet, like a little, I don't know, a bonnet, almost like a hood, kind of, but like I don't know, like a tie kind of hood bonnet. I can only describe it as kind of like that. Looks like she lost like some like whatever little clothing thing like that there, and so that's dropped. We get Aisha leaving now, as she was telling like Hassan and Sana, like, sure, nothing happens. And then she sees Najma. Aisha finds Najma. You turn your back on your people, your family, us. Like, how can you do that? Where's the bangle? She'll. Then we get a cut back to the dad saying like, hey, don't worry, she'll be here. She'll be here. Najma then stabs Aisha, says, I will get the bangle if it's the last thing I do. It won't work, Najma, is what is what Aisha is saying. Like, it won't work, Najma, and then Aisha, like, Najma leaves, after Aisha's like saying it won't work, we won't be able to get through, we get stabbed. And Aisha's stabbed and dying. Hassan is separated from Sana, so it is exactly what I was thinking, that we were getting all of that right now in this. That it was like, it's this time, it's this story, that's what we're getting. They're giving it to us in like, I don't know, 20-ish like minutes or so. Like, it's pretty tight, actually. It's pretty good. That we were able to get all of this, because again, there was a lot of exposition at the beginning with the whole spinning and the old school looking, like real and everything like that. So it was really nice to see that that boring exposition was put there and done that way so that we could get like a lot more of this exposition, like see what happened. Like there's a difference of them telling us what happened by like people having conversation. This is allowing us to live in the moment and see the moment. So it's really great. Like I loved it. I thought all of this has been just so awesome. We have San separated from Sana, who is screaming Ami. We have Aisha stabbed, bleeding out on like maybe just a pile of some hay or something. Like she's on like a tilted down like cart thing basically, and she's just kind of leaning there, like laying there, kind of like just laying there, kind of like bleeding out basically, and we get Aisha then, you know, hearing Sana, hearing her husband, and we get the whole what you seek is seeking you whole thing come back, come full circle, because what we did see is that Sana had the bracelet, had the bangle, and what Aisha does here is basically calls out the like calls out to like what you seek is seeking you, and like makes the connection there, like sends out her like signal basically for Sana and everything like that. It was so beautiful. I cried the first time I watched it. The bangle though, and Aisha glow purple. You know what you that's the what you seek is seeking you then now like inscribed in the bangle, and it's at this moment where it's changed, which also makes sense for when Waylon was talking about in the previous Red Dagger episode that he you know, when he was talking to Kamala and about her powers and everything like that, he said, I never knew in all of the like prophecies and lore and everything that I've ever read, there was never anything that said of an inscription on it. And that's true because that changed in 1942 when, in theory, the bangle got lost from history and was no longer being recorded, because nobody knew where it was. So now that's what led to that, which then we now see how the bangle got the inscription of what you seek is seeking you on it. And oh man, it's so good. It's so good. After we get that portion, bam, we see Kamala's shoes come down, and oh my god, are we getting it, like time travel? Like, I got some paradox questions here, but I don't know. Got some paradox questions here, but you know, I don't necessarily know how this is all gonna go. But we see Kamala's shoes, and it's awesome. You know, they are in the same place. Kamala has come to save Aisha basically, and you know, she finds Aisha. Kamala finds Aisha, her great grandmother, and or her great grandmother, and it's like, oh Sana, you came back, and Kamala's like, I'm not Sana, and she's like, it doesn't matter, it worked, the bangle worked. You know, get Sana to the train, protect that bangle, and then Aisha dies. You know, you have everything that you need, everything that you're supposed to. She's okay. Like, Aisha is saying this, like, she's okay because you are here. And then that's when Aisha dies. And then Kamala starts searching for her grandmother, basically. And, like, when Kamala finds her grandmother, Sana, sorry, Her dad, her great grandfather, is still looking for Sana, and Kamala's like, I can't do stars, but I can do circles. I need you to jump. So then she starts putting circles out there, her little Norlight, like Donkey Kong, Ninja Turtle pad, jumpers or whatever, that, if you will. She's got all of that, got her little circles going, and, but, uh, it it breaks. It breaks because Kamala gets like knocked over and kind of loses her concentration. So like Sana falls a little bit, but then as she falls, it that light breaks and shatters, and then just kind of starts drifting into stars, little circles, because Kamala at that time says, "Go find your father," and that's go find, she says, Nani, go find Abu, and it breaks into stars, and then those are the stars that then lead Sana to her father. And Kamala is like in shock, saying like, it was me. I did this. I was the one who saved them. Wait a second. What is it? Because again, it's time travel. They introduced time travel here, which we know is possible in the MCU due to Endgame, but like because of the time heist and everything. But how can I have questions? So I have the time traveling stuff is hard to kind of answer, so I don't really have answers. But if you have answers, please comment on the video and let me know. Like and subscribe as well. But so Kamala gets her grandmother back to her great grandfather, and they're safely on the train together. Then we get pulled back into the garment factory, where at the end of episode 5, where Kamala's thing gets stabbed by Najma in the present at that like garment factory or whatever, they they all kind of start waking up, and they all see that it is the veil. The Nor veil is starting to pierce over into our world. It is crazy, because that's not supposed to happen. That's not how it's supposed to be. We get Kamala's family trying to figure out where she's at. Her mom is freaking out. Like, Kamala, just pick up the phone. Just pick up the phone. Where are you? Her 2 cousins are just walking in. Just walking in like nothing happened. Like, nothing wrong at all. And that, like, she's still gone. She's still not picking up her phone. Her grandma is like, Magnum ran away once, and I put a chip in him. And Kamala's mom is like, well, Kamala, Magnum, he's a dog. Kamala's a girl. You know the difference of that, right? And like Nani's like, yeah. And Kamala's mom's like, if it were legal, I would do it. And then her one of Kamala's cousins, her guy cousin, male cousin, is tells Kamala's mom about find your phone feature. And then we cut back to the garment factory. Here in the garment factory, the veil is starting to expand. The pierced veil is starting to expand and come through. We get Red Dagger and Kamala trying to get the merchant people out. One of the clandestines tries to reach in and go into the veil, and is then like skin and muscle turned to ash, basically crumble down. And then the whole body kind of like just crumbles into a sack of bones and everything. And it's crazy. It's awesome. It is so like freaky looking. It's great. I loved it. Um, but like it's just so good. But Kamala and the Red Dagger are doing the good work, trying to get people out. You know, Kamala's like, you know, Najma, I don't know what you're doing, but it's not gonna work. It's just gonna destroy anything. Didn't you just see what happened? And Najma's like, I can make it. It'll be fine. What about Cameron? You know, Cameron. Kamala's like, you know, I don't know. I left him behind. And Kamala gives one of the single greatest reactions ever because I was saying it at the same time as her. Why don't you just go back? You can go back and get him. Why don't you? Oh my god. Simple. Just go back. Especially with what we see later on from it, like, oh man. But Najma is, you know, or I'm sorry, Kamala is like, you know, Aisha wanted to be with family. Don't take that from Cameron. Like, you know, Najma walks closer to the veil and starts like disintegrating, but not before she changes her eyes and color the same way that Aisha did when Aisha sent the stuff to the bangle to come and sent the stuff to the bangle to come back in time and help her. Now, here, Najma's stuff leaves her as her body like crumbles and stuff as everything else has, and then it travels like it's a quick cut. We see Cameron still on the run from like damage control, going through alleys and stuff, and then he's just kind of like sucked in like with the power and everything, and he kind of falls down, and then he gets the glowing hand kind of Nor light thing that Kamala has had, just a little bit different coloring, almost kind of like Loki colors, a little bit more yellow and green. But it's really great. It was really cool. We saw that. Then Cameron's back on his own then. But we cut back to everyone. By everyone, I mean Kamala and the garment factory. The veil is closed. We get Mom and Grandma arrive. You know, Kamala's mom's like, "What are you doing? What is happening? Who is that?" Pointing to the Red Dagger, and you know the Red Dagger is just like, "Hey, Auntie," and like says whatever he needs to, and then like Sana is way more welcoming and way more like happy and smiling towards the Red Dagger as opposed to Kamala's mom, who is in like all kinds of like utter shock. Kamala's mom also now knows that Kamala is the light girl, you know, as they keep saying, you know, not Miss Marvel just yet, but the light girl, and it's hilarious. You know, and Kamala's grandma is like, you know, I told you this so much over the years that, like, you know, we had magic and we had all of these, you know, so many times over the years that we had all of these things, and, you know, you never just listen to me. And we get Kamala and you know, Kamala, her mom, and her grandma are like, it's all true, it's all real, like, and Kamala hands the picture over to her grandma and is like, Ami, Abu, like, like, you know, like, this is for you, it's all real, it's, you know, it's awesome, it's really great. The photo, and you know, her mom is like, Kamala, the photo and the light, how does this happen? And Kamala's grandma is like, when two people, I believe when two people fell in love, they created something so much bigger than either of them could have ever created alone. Beautiful. Awesome. Awesome stuff. And then we get the be right back from Kamala. She's like, 2 seconds. And goes and runs up to which we don't actually see. It's an interesting thing here because we see Kamala. It's clear that she's like boo 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 throwing her light out there so that she can take the quick way up to like the upper level where Red Dagger's getting ready to run out of the garment factory. But we're focused on Kamala's mother, and we see her roller coaster face of emotions of like shock, awe, and then like a happiness, kind of proudness, like that's my daughter, kind of like ending face basically. And it's great. It is. I love it. It is such a choice to make because you think, I mean, they could have also done it for two reasons. It's an important thing that focusing on the, because at that point, I really think it's at this point that Kamala and her mom are having their like emotional relationshipal like breakthrough here. It's like in that moment, like Kamala's mother is finally seeing Kamala for the first time, and it's not necessarily the superhero version or anything like that. It is the great child that she always thought her daughter could be, but wasn't seeing her daughter's full greatness that she had. And it was great. I loved it. I loved everything about this. This was so awesome. It was so good. It's just so good. Red Dagger and Kamala, say goodbye. Red Dagger's like, hey, Weyland, he would be proud of you, and Kamala's like, thank you for everything. I'm just a call away. Red Dagger's like, I'm just a call away. U.S. government has a few warrants out for my arrest, but, and then he pulls off his scarf, which we've seen in like the preview promo pictures, posters. There's like a scarf kind of thing that kind of like hangs like right here or like kind of like right here on like a shoulder kind of thing of hers. I'm assuming it's that. Is that what we see? Because then the vest of it was the vest that like Weyland handed over that was like thousands of threads of have memory and stuff on here to help you out. And so then she gets that. So now she's starting to get her whole like costume and her look. It makes sense. This is episode 5 of 6. Again, we've gotten the promos of her all dialed up in her outfit. I'm assuming we'll get it in some capacity in episode 6. It could be they could do the real thing here. Marvel could with this. Give us all of just the single look of like promo, but do the classic reveal of the last panel of the last page of then having her like, I mean, when Netflix had Daredevil, you don't see Daredevil spoilers until episode, I think it's 12 or 13 episodes that first season. You don't see it until the final episode. It is Daredevil. Now, to be fair, all the marketing never revealed his suit. So you would have expected, actually, even to see Kamala previously to, like, episode 5, maybe in a suit. She had her cosplayed version of Captain Marvel at the beginning. Then she ditches it, like, for the first, like, 2.5 episodes. And then, like, somewhere 3, 4... Yeah, definitely 3 and 4 she doesn't have it. All of 5. Part of 3. Definitely no 4, no 5. She doesn't have her cosplaying one because she's in another country. And, but yeah. So good. Oh, man. It's just so good. I love this show so much. It's so awesome. And then finally we get a cut back to the family house, like Kamala's grandma's house, and they're looking through pictures. Kamala's like, who's that? That's your mother at your age. You know, she ran away at 17 to follow Bruce Springsteen. Kamala's mom is like, it was Bon Jovi, get it right. Um, and Kamala's like, why have I never like heard of this? Why have I never been told any of this about you? And you know, Kamala's mom's just like, you never asked. You know, I've had many adventures like with your father. And then she was like walking up to Kamala and like, you know, straightens her shirt, a little bit of her collar, and it's like, but none of them has been as thrilling as being your mother. You know, and her mom's like, if I've been holding on really tight to you, like, as of late, it's because I'm not ready to let you go, you know. And then we get Kamala's grandma being like, I didn't hold you tight enough, you know, I couldn't see what. And Kamala's mom is like, no, 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 mom, you know, to her, Kamala's grandma, you know, Sana, no, like, I couldn't see what you needed me to see, and I'm sorry. And then, you know, Sana's like, well, this is the journey maybe that I was intended to go on this big looping one to come back here full circle. You know, it was awesome to see that. It was awesome to get it. And I love it. It was a great little family moment there. We also get now a cut to Bruno taking out Bruno taking out his garbage, and Cameron is there, and it's like, hey, I need help. I need some help. And so he goes and, you know, shows basically that he has powers. You know, Cameron shows Bruno that he has powers, and he's like, oh my god, you have powers too. And but he's like but Cameron's like, I just need help, man. I need to I got separated from my mom. I need to stay. I need to stay here. I need to try and get a hold of her. Cameron's like walking around Bruno's like apartment, and it's like, oh, you know, we see the Nikola Tesla poster on there, and Cameron's like, oh, so you're a car guy, and he sees the AR poster for like Agron. It's like, oh yeah, that's my favorite element too. But the Tesla thing is really funny because it's Nikola Tesla, not Elon Musk. Tesla's cars, electric cars. That's really funny. And Bruno's just like, it's no wonder we've never hung out before, you know. And Cameron's like, hey, can we start this over? You know, hi, I'm Cameron, you know. And, you know, Bruno's like, hi, I'm Bruno. And Cameron's like, I genuinely thought your name was Brian. I am really sorry about that. You know, like that. I'm sorry. And Bruno's like, it's fine. You know, like you can stay out here tonight, and then tomorrow, you know, like we'll move on and we'll figure out like the rest. And Cameron's like, no, I need to stay here so that when my mom comes to find me, like she knows where to find me, that I'll be here and that I'll be okay and all of that kind of stuff. And Bruno's like, what makes you think your mom is coming back for you? And Cameron's like, she wouldn't just leave me like an orphan. Ouch, because he is. And Bruno's like, she left you to fend for yourself, man. I don't know if I don't know if like she's coming back. And you know, Cameron's just like, you just wouldn't get it. Bruno's like, okay, well, you know, like my parents aren't around either. My nana's out of town, but there's some, you know, food in the fridge that we can get. Cameron looks out, sees the damage control drone, shoots his hand out to hit the drone, being like, hey, I've been followed, we got to get out of here. That's when Bruno's like, oh my god, you have powers. Bruno and Cameron are, are Bruno and Cameron knocks out the damage control drone. Bruno and Cameron then are jumping out the or trying to make their way like down into the lower part of the apartment and stuff, and that drone ends up throwing a rocket into the bottom portion of the convenience store right underneath where Cameron and Bruno, well, right underneath where Bruno lives, and it all just explodes. It blows up, and wow, what a way to end an episode. I have talked far too long on this episode. I am quite over as compared to the actual length, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I love Miss Marvel. 5 episodes in, it's one of my favorite Disney Plus streaming shows that we've had from Marvel thus far. I really love it. I'm so interested in now, like, reading a lot more about Miss Marvel, finding out a lot more about her from the comics. I really am excited to see her in the Marvel's movie. But I also hope that we get a chance to see her maybe in like a Young Avengers series or something. I hope we get to see a lot more of Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, coming here into the future. With that all being said, I am Jimmy with the Triple C Collective here on Superhero Saturday. This has been Miss Marvel episode 5, Time and Again. I want to thank you all for joining me. I hope you all stay safe. Excelsior!